Welcome back to another episode of Better Than I Found It, the podcast, all things college golf. You're listening to Mike McGraw, the men's golf coach at Baylor University. This week on Better Than I Found It, I'd like to talk to you about one of my favorite golf courses in the world, and that is Olympia Fields Country Club in Chicago, Illinois. And also about one of my favorite college golf tournaments, the Fighting Illini Collegiate, now in its 19th year and it has been hosted by Olympia Fields Country Club all 19 years. There's only 1 year that we didn't have this championship, and it was in the year of COVID. But other than that, it's been a continuous run of right at 19 years. Great golf tournament on an epic venue, just a wonderful place, and one of my favorite weeks of the entire year. I'd like to start initially talking about Olympia Fields Country Club itself and the rich history of competitive golf at this iconic venue. Through the years, it has hosted the Western Open 5 times on the PGA Tour, the BMW on the PGA Tour, 2 U.S. Opens, 2 PGA Championships, a U.S. Amateur Championship, a U.S. Senior Open, and a KPMG Women's PGA Championship as well. So it's hosted a lot, among other events, but it's hosted a lot of really great championships since 1920. Actually, the golf course itself was built. Olympia Fields Country Club started in 1915. The course that we play, the North Course, was finished and designed by Willie Park and opened in 1923. But the names, the iconic names that have been on trophies played at events at Olympia Fields Country Club are amazing. Jock Hutchinson, who also won an Open Championship. Gene Sarazen, one of the greatest players of all times, won a PGA and a Western Open there. Johnny Farrell won the U.S. Open in 1928 at Olympia Fields. Sam Snead won the Chicago Open in 1938. Jerry Barber made an epic 45-foot putt to win the 1961 PGA Championship there. Jack Nicklaus won a Western Open in 1968. Graham Marsh won the Senior Open in 1997. Jim Furyk, as many will remember, won his one major championship right there at Olympia Fields, the 2003 U.S. Open. Bryson DeChambeau capped a great amateur and college career with a U.S. Amateur Championship there in 2015. And obviously, a lot of people will remember John Rahm's epic putt to beat Dustin Johnson in the 2020 BMW. So it's got a rich history of great competitive golf having been played all through the years, and it's obviously a great championship venue, or they wouldn't continue to come back. The golf course was originally had 72 holes, had 4 golf courses. There are now 2 courses that remain, the North and South course. Willie Park designed the North course, as I said earlier, opened in 1923. Some very unusual things about Olympia Fields Country Club, and if you ever get a chance to come to Chicago and see this place, is the locker room, for one. It was built for 72 holes, 4 golf courses, so it's absolutely colossal. It's the largest locker room that I've ever been in, and many claim it's the largest locker room in the world, and very unique because it has a feeling and a flavor of something that is not changed much over the years. You can tell that they haven't done a lot to it. It feels like a locker room probably felt back in the 20s or 30s or 40s. It's got a great feel to it. Huge alleys where lockers are. Televisions all over the place. Very high ceilings. But it's just a gigantic locker room and a great place. When we come up here for this championship every year, each team has an alley where their team can stop. Each player has a locker. The members are kind enough to clean out lockers for the week so that we have a place to store shoes and clothes and extra umbrellas and whatever. But it's an amazing locker room, which is a neat experience. The clubhouse itself is one of the largest I've ever seen, and just got some beautiful ballrooms and dining rooms, and it actually has 30 hotel rooms on top. It's got a wonderful clock tower that can be seen from all vantage points on the golf course. And then one other unique aspect of Olympia Fields is the railroad that runs adjacent to the number 1 and number 2 and number 3 fairways. It's interesting because you could live in downtown Chicago and hop on the train and come down to Olympia Fields. One of the stops, the train stops at the first tee at Olympia Fields. And every time I hear the train go by, I think, my gosh, that's an interesting, people in the 20s or 30s or 40s or 50s or even today could be downtown working in the morning, hop on the train and play golf in the afternoon. Just really, really cool aspect of Olympia Fields. But it's not to be lost on the fact that it's a great golf course. And Mike Small, the coach at Illinois, and I were having dinner and talking about this. It's all the shot values are very, very high. You have to think off the tee. You have to think on your approach, and you have to think once you get to the green. You cannot fall asleep at Olympia Fields. It just goes. It never stops. It just keeps coming at you. And it's very similar to me. One of my other favorite golf courses is a golf course in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Southern Hills, that all of you know and you've heard me talk about. But I love golf courses that make you think. And Southern Hills does that in Tulsa, I know. And then Olympia Fields, the same. When you fall asleep at Olympia Fields, it pushes back and it gets you. And if you're out of position, the players are told, if you get out of position, your number 1 goal at that point is to get back in position. And those that don't are in trouble, because this golf course will expose your impatience. It will expose your immaturity. It will expose poor strategy. And obviously it exposes poor golf, but you just hope you don't have to do that. But Olympia Fields, an amazing, amazing venue. I'm thankful every year I get to come back to this tournament. Mike Small, the coach, as I said, at Illinois, has invited us back every year. I've been pretty fortunate to have been on the winning side here a few times as a team and with an individual. But I thought I would begin by talking about some of the great players who have played in this tournament, the Fighting Illini, through the years. Its first year was 2006. And other than that COVID year, it's been going on continuously ever since. 8 different players that have played in this tournament have won a total of 18 major championships. I think there's been 71 players who have held a PGA Tour card. Another 45 have held Korn Ferry or DP World Tour cards. So you've got a ton of... It's sort of like this is a gathering spot for future PGA Tour players, future PGA champions. And I'll just name the major champions that have competed in the Fighting Illini through the years. You have, not in any particular order here, Brooks Koepka from Florida State, J.J. Spahn from San Diego State, Patrick Reed from Augusta State, Wyndham Clark from Oklahoma State, Bryson DeChambeau from SMU, Scotty Scheffler from Texas, John Rahm from Arizona State, and Colin Morikawa from Cal Berkeley. So that's just the major champions who have competed in the Fighting Illini. I'm going to go through a list, and please bear with me, but it is notable. These people I think I'm announcing right now are all PGA Tour players, many of whom have won on the PGA Tour. Adam Schenk from Purdue, Max Homa from Cal, Ben Ahn from Cal, Bud Colley from Alabama, Bobby White from Alabama, Tom Lovelady from Alabama, Dominic Bazzelli from Auburn, Daniel Berger from Florida State, Kramer Hickok from Texas, Harry Higgs from SMU, Brian Campbell from Illinois, who's won twice on tour, Hank Lebota from Florida State, Patrick Rogers from Stanford, Austin Cook and Taylor Moore, both of Arkansas, Trey Mullinex and Robbie Shelton, both of Alabama, Kevin Doherty from Oklahoma State, Kyle Jones from Baylor, Max McGreevy from the University of Oklahoma, Doug Gim from Texas, Cameron Champ from Texas A&M, Maverick McNeely from Stanford, Thomas Dietrich from Illinois, Christopher Ventura from Oklahoma State, Davis Riley from Alabama, Chandler Phillips from Texas A&M, Nick Hardy. Are you getting my point here? Nick Hardy from Illinois, a lot of great players. Lee Hodges, who's won on the tour from Alabama, Ben Griffin, Ryder Cupper from North Carolina, Dylan Wu from Stanford, Matthew Wolf from Oklahoma State, Victor Hovland from Oklahoma State, Austin Eckroat from Oklahoma State, Sahith Sigala from Pepperdine, Ryan Gerard from North Carolina, Michael Thor Bjornsson from Stanford, Joe Highsmith from Pepperdine, Nick Dunlap from Alabama, Adam Long from Duke, Cameron Tringali from Georgia Tech, Joseph Bramlett from Stanford, Luke List from Vanderbilt, Ricky Fowler, Kevin Tway, both of Oklahoma State, Jonas Blixt from Florida State, Scott Langley from Illinois, Peter Uihlein from Oklahoma State, Dylan Fratelli from Texas, Kelly Craft from SMU, Morgan Hoffman from Oklahoma State, Henrik Norlander from Augusta State, Luke Guthrie from Illinois, Harris English and Russell Henley, both Georgia, Cody Gribble from Texas, Taylor Gooch from Oklahoma State, and Thomas Peters from Illinois. That's just a quick list that I went through some of my former journals and books and found some names. I mean, that's an incredible list. Plus, I didn't name probably another 45 or 50 players who either are currently on the Korn Ferry Tour or have held a Korn Ferry Tour card or a DP World Tour card. So the competition here at the Fighting Illini has been stunning. It's been unbelievable for all of these years. And I think it's noted that I think a lot of people don't recognize just how many great players in professional golf came through college golf. And I've been fortunate enough to be at this tournament for 19 years, every year. In fact, I tell Mike Small every once in a while, he hosts the event. He's an amazing host, by the way. But Mike one year had to miss this event for the PGA Cup matches in England. I believe it was in England. And so he wasn't here for the Fighting Illini 1 year. And so I'm the only coach who's been to every single, even Mike Small hadn't been to every one of them. And he'll tell you that that's a record that is pretty amazing. So, but he continues to invite me back. So that's one thing I'm very, very grateful for. But you can see from those names I read off that it's really a stunning list of names of people that are still playing professional golf, that have made an impact not just in the college game, but in the professional game. It's pretty easy to see that if you came and watched the Fighting Illini Invitational in any given year, you're watching the future of professional golf, because many of these players will go on to play collegiate or professional golf. So I thought I would just come up with some of the things that stand out as far as memories in this championship through the years. The very first one in 2006 was won by Duke, and I can remember their coach, Hall of Fame coach Rod Myers, was very ill at the time. He only lived, I think, about 6 months after this tournament. But I remember the emotion that Rod showed as his team brought home the title of a great final round they played. But you could tell he kind of sensed that this was probably the last opportunity he was going to have to win a tournament of such note. And I can remember that was a pretty emotional time. His team came back, they won. It's a great win for them. The following year, my Oklahoma State team was able to win the title, but I remember what stands out in my mind was Ricky Fowler, who was a freshman playing in his, I think, second tournament for us. Shot a 63 one round in about 25-mile-an-hour winds. Now, to be sure, the greens had been softened by rain, so they weren't as firm as they can get. But he did shoot 63 and tied Vijay Singh's course record 63 that had been shot, I guess, in the U.S. Open in 2003. So I remember that one quite well, a team victory and an individual victory as well. In 2008, the following year, we had the number one ranked team in the country, and we came in there, and Illinois had a solid team, and they came back and beat us the final round. We had a 36-hole lead, and they came back. In fact, Indiana passed us. We finished third. But a few years later, I asked Mike, I said, you've done an amazing job here at Illinois, and your teams just get better and better and better. What was the turning point? And he points to that victory of his team in the Fighting Illini in 2008 when they came back and beat our number one ranked team as kind of a turning point for their program, where the guys really started to believe, hey, I think we can do this on a level with the best teams in the country. And if you look at the record, if you just look at what's happened the last 15 or 20 years, Mike Small's teams are in the mix almost every single year at the national championship, some way or another. And really a big turning point for their program was when they were able to win the Fighting Illini against a very great field. I remember in 2017, a young man from Texas A&M named Brandon Smith, who I've been really good friends with for a long time, he shot a final round 65, and his Aggies came back from 6 back to win by about 7 or 8. They just stormed the field the final round. And actually, Brandon is now an assistant coach. He just got into coaching. He's working for Trey Jones at Florida State. But I remember that 65 pretty clearly. It was like he led the team that day. Hank Liboda from Florida State, we were playing with them in 2015 in the final round. I was at Baylor at the time, and I remember an epic hole-in-one. The wind was blowing, and actually downwind a little bit on that hole, number 8. It's a massive par 3, long, can play anywhere from 200 to 270. But he made a hole-in-one with a hybrid. And I remember thinking to myself, my guy 3-putted for bogey, and he made a hole-in-one, so that was a 3-shot swing right there, and I think Florida State went on to win that day. Pardon me. Also, back in 2010, when Taylor Gooch was a freshman at Oklahoma State playing for me, very, very iconic moment that I remember. Taylor will tell you, to this day, it sort of changed the way he looked at the game of golf. He was getting ready on the 12th hole to make maybe the dumbest play you could possibly make, and would definitely lead to a double bogey or worse. And I could have stopped him and forced him to chip out to 100 yards and wedge it onto the green and 2-putt for a very average bogey, but he was so insistent on playing this really, really stupid shot. And he'll admit to you today that it was a stupid shot. And I just thought to myself, if he sees this shot, then I'm going to go ahead and let him play it and make this mistake. It is September 20th. We have plenty of time to recover. And I let him make the mistake. He did make the double bogey. But he'll tell you, it taught him a lot about strategy and why emotion. He was trying to desperately not lose a shot. He did not want to make a bogey, and he wanted to not make that bogey so much that he brought double bogey into play. And I thought I needed to teach him a lesson at the time. I did, and even on an earlier podcast on this Better Than I Found It podcast, he mentioned that. It's something I'll never forget. It's something that he'll tell you changed his life. And you think about it, that's what I try to talk to our players about every week. Some weeks you're playing easier golf courses where maybe strategy isn't as important, and maybe you can get away with making poor decisions. That's one of the beauties of Olympia Fields. You cannot make poor decisions. It will bite you. It will get you. It will push back. You will pay for your bad decisions. You'll pay for your impatience, and you'll definitely pay for your immaturity. And in that case, Taylor Gooch back in 2010 did pay for it, but he learned a great lesson from it and became a better player because of it. So those are just some of the memories that I have. Hopefully there'll be many more memories going forward of things that I look back and say, wow, that was really a cool moment or whatever. And you'll see that some of those memories were good things that happened for my team, and some weren't good things that happened for my team. But regardless, when you get this many great collegiate players together on an amazing venue, great things are going to happen. I talked briefly about Mike Small, and he's such a great host. He does everything the right way. He always makes the right decision for the right reason up here. He's run a wonderful championship for many years. He's also had some great assistant coaches that have helped him, with the administration of this tournament. But what's great about it is that the membership at Olympia Fields actually supports this event, and they actually turn out to volunteer for this event, and they, as I said earlier, clean out their lockers so that the teams have a place to call home for 4 days. It's an amazing thing Mike has been able to rally an entire membership around a tournament, and I think if the members are being honest, they would all take with great pride in looking at the players that they scored for, or the players that they were spotting golf balls for, and getting to know and having interactions with those players. And then you get to watch their professional careers. Every year I'll have some spotter or some scorekeeper say, hey, I remember back in 2010, or I remember this, or I remember one of your players did that. And it's sort of neat that you have the connection. And what the connection is year after year after year, the members at Olympia Fields come out in droves to support the event and to help us run a great championship. Mike Small is a big part of that because he's rallied the members around what has become a truly iconic collegiate event. But one of the other special things about the event is that Mike has designated a sponsor or a host for each team. And this host will meet you at the airport at baggage claim with a 15-passenger van and drive you back to your hotel when you arrive on Wednesday. And this person will also be with you at certain dinners throughout the week, probably more than likely follow your team during the week of competition, but also take you and your team straight to the gate on Sunday following the final round. And so it's just a great, great, great amenity, if you will, of the tournament, because O'Hare is a tough airport to get in and out of. It's a very, very busy airport, and these hosts are valuable, and they give you a nice home feel too, that somebody's there to greet you, and then somebody's there to take you and bid you farewell once the tournament is over. But that host for me for 19 straight years has been a gentleman named Myron Brick. And Myron is a member at Olympia Fields. I think Myron joined Olympia Fields a couple of years before they started the Fighting Illini. And Myron has just been a bedrock of support, of enjoyment, he's just done so many things for my teams at Oklahoma State. The 1 year I was at Alabama, he adopted the Crimson Tide and then has been with my team at Baylor all the rest of the years. But he's also he's done a great job of adopting the Alabama Crimson Tide as well. Pardon me. The 1 year I was there, he said, yeah, we'll take them in. And he has sponsored a dinner with Jay Sewell, the Alabama coach, and myself on Thursday night when the team has their team dinner. Myron has dinner for us in the clubhouse, and it's really a wonderful event. But not to be overlooked and indefinitely to be mentioned is the fact that these hosts do a great job of making each coach, each player feel like they're at home. And that's just another special touch of the Fighting Illini. Finally, when you do play a great golf course like this, a championship golf course that's hosted major championships, I always tell my players, whether it's Southern Hills or Prairie Dunes or Olympia Fields, which are all three venues, great venues on our schedule, if you're paying attention, you play 4 rounds or 3 or 4 competitive rounds, regardless of your score, if you're paying attention, you're going to be a better player when you come out on the other side of that tournament. I don't care what score you shoot that week. If you're watching for what the golf course is trying to teach you, if you watch the lessons that you're learning, and if you apply those going forward, you will be a better player than you were before. And I think that is the case for anybody playing a really, really tough golf course. Obviously you want to, pardon me, you want a great result. Everybody does. But what you really want to do is get better. And I can honestly say, through the years, the lessons that I have learned and that my players have learned by playing Olympia Fields could fill an entire book. So my episode today was all about Olympia Fields and about the experience that I experience every year when I come up here. Thankful for all of the people that make it happen. And I'm praying for a good result for our team this week. But if not, we'll be better for having gone through the competition. Thanks for listening to Better Than I Found It today. I'll see you again next week.